BT's Body and Balance is sponsored by Canada Diagnostic Centres, offering MRI, X-ray, and ultrasound services in Calgary and Okotoks.
Welcome back to Breakfast Television. The holidays are often filled with cookies and squares and, of course, the big turkey dinner. But as health specialist Leah Sarich tells us, all this food can create enormous anxiety if you're struggling with an eating disorder.
It sure can. And in fact, the holidays really can be a nightmare situation for people struggling with an eating disorder. So I spoke with the medical director of the Calgary Eating Disorder Program, and she told me the holidays are really challenging because a person with an eating disorder has been told, as part of their treatment plan, to really stick to a food routine and an eating routine. And of course, through the holidays, there's a very good chance that that routine is going to be disrupted.
They're on the road and they're traveling, certainly going to parties and those sorts of events. The food routine can get all mixed up. I think the other thing to bear in mind for folks with eating disorders is that, you know, there's a whole lot of social and cultural expectations around this time of the year. To be present, to be joyful, to be engaged. And we know that people with eating disorders struggle oftentimes with interpersonal insecurity and with high levels of perfectionism that can make those types of gatherings, those types of events, much more stressful than they might for people who aren't struggling with that type of a mental health problem.
Right? So the food is everywhere. And it's not just about the food itself. As she mentioned, it's about those emotions that surround the food. You know, Grandma's mashed potatoes that she makes every year, Auntie's special cookies that you have to eat at the holidays, those kinds of things we're talking about. So those with the disorder, they're not only anxious about how much food they're going to have to eat, but they're worried about disappointing these people that have prepared this food. So that's happening as well. So what they often will do is start restricting their food intake, maybe weeks, days before the holidays. So that can really be very, very scary. And you know, they also really want to appear normal in these situations when everybody's watching them and when they're sort of gathered with all of their family and friends. So it's very much more about just the food.
Okay, and of course, people who support those that are suffering with eating disorders, what can they do to help?
Well, the best thing to do is to support the person with that routine. So if you can, anything you can do to help them stick with that food and eating routine, that is really, really helpful because, of course, that's part of their treatment plan. So that's the first thing to do. Some families choose to share with the rest of the family that they have a child or a teen that is struggling with an eating disorder. In that case, you can guide some of these family members. You can say to them, you know, maybe it's not a good idea to mention maybe where their weight's at or mention how much they're eating. Let's not even talk about that. Now, other families may choose not to share. And in that case, you know, maybe you need to step away from some of those social activities.
Okay, fantastic. Of course,
Of maybe backing away from some of the social gatherings, right? There's nothing to suggest that you have to attend everything, and I think it's important that health comes first, right? Health comes first, and remember that it's not just about the food, it's about all those social pressures too. So you don't have to attend every social gathering. Sometimes staying home, watching a movie, doing something kind of in a smaller group, that can help to take some of the pressure off.
Right? So those are some really easy tips. Maybe just step away from some of those and create your own sort of routines that don't have to involve all of that food. And the other thing is many people think, oh, let's just take a break from the eating disorder. Let's not just worry about it over the holidays. We'll get back to on track on January. But the eating disorder itself is not taking a break. It's not taking a holiday. So really, you do want to stay with that strict routine for sure. Of course, all of this information is on my blog.
okay, great.